This is going to be a bit of a messy talk, but we're just going to roll with it. Can I have a raise of hands? Like, who here is like a builder? Like, you're building something? No one's building anything. Okay, what do you guys do? Oh, awesome. Perfect. Okay. All right. All right. So I'm Taylor Monahan. If you guys don't know me, I've been in the space for almost a decade now, which is actually kind of insane. I started out because I accidentally built a wallet thing that was MyEtherWallet back in 2015. I was on the front lines for all the ICOs, the token mania. It was insane trying to build a product in that environment. Learned a lot, learned really fast. And then things happened. I had a daughter in the middle of the chaos. It was amazing. And then we joined MetaMask in 2022. And so my whole team joined MetaMask. And now I have a lot more freedom in terms of what I do. And so for the past couple of years, I've been really focused on the various threats that face our users in the ecosystem. And so that's what I'm going to talk to you about today, because as someone who's been on the front lines for so long, it's actually, crypto's pretty different and it's pretty interesting. And the way that it impacts your product and users in the industry on the whole is worth diving into. And the the biggest, I think, shift in my mentality from 2015 through today is we talk a lot about like prevention, right? Like preventing the exploits, preventing the hacks, educating people, improving our products. And all of that is massively important. But over time, I realized that if we do not find ways to address the bad things and the impact of those bad things on the tail end, right? After the hack happens, after you get your funds stolen, what do? If we just like don't address that at all, there's no way that we can ever make the pool of bad things go down. And a lot of times when I talk about this, people give me this face because it feels weird, right? It's like, no, we just don't want bad things to happen. Let's prevent the bad things, right? Yes, let's prevent the bad things, but assuming that bad things will always happen, we should probably get way better at addressing them after they happen and finding ways to remediate the harm. And the reason for this is that when bad things happen in crypto, they suck way more. They really, really, really suck. For example, if you've ever been SIM swapped, if you've ever had a skid take over your account, if you've had your wallet drained by one of those drainers, the people that steal the money are constantly tweeting and Snapchatting and TikToking what they do with your money. So these are some of the skids, script kiddies that we call them, right? 18 to 20 years old, they steal your money and then they buy an absolutely atrocious array of bedazzled luxury watches, along with Lamborghinis and Birkins, to give their the girls that they're attracted to. It's incredible. The other thing about this space is that we really have this tendency to idolize the hackers while blaming the victims. So if you get your funds stolen, chances are people on Twitter are going to make fun of you, and then they will, on the flip side, platform the people who stole the money from you. It's quite depressing at times. And the state of things is so bad that a whole new scam vector has popped up, wildly successful, where they pretend that they can be a service to recover your funds. They promise they can like hack back your funds, all sorts of stuff. They are also scammers. We have a number of victims who like get their computer compromised, funds stolen, but then they get scammed as a result and lose even more money. And this whole sort of like weird scam pocket industry exists because for so long there's been nothing that victims can do when they have their crypto stolen. So that's the state of things right now. and has been for about a decade. Super fun. So what do we do about it, right? Like how can we address this? And the first thing that we need to do is we need to identify where these gaps are. And so this is like a little cycle for scammers and hackers and people who perpetuate bad things. It's actually quite similar if you've built a product, if you've worked for a company. Super similar, right? Like you decide to do something, you research, you put that plan into place, you lay the groundwork, you have to get the things, whatever. Then you actually do the thing, right? You actually steal the money, you pull off the exploit, whatever it is. Where things start to change from traditional business is that you have this like succeed part, right? Where you have to then like escape with the money and you have to not go to jail. And then if everything goes according to plan, you get the money, you profit, you benefit, right? And then the cycle repeats. And this area over here, the repeat, succeed, repeat, launder the money, get away with the money, that's where we have a huge gap. Because right now in crypto, if you have funds stolen, what do people say, right? They go, not your keys, not your coins. You shouldn't have had your money stolen. Like all these things, right? Nobody will tell you like, oh yeah, go figure out who stole your money and go get them. Go find them and go stop them, right? Go to the centralized exchange where the money went and get them to freeze that person's account. Nobody will say that to you. And so once people steal money, they're just like home free. And that's absurd. It's insane. Nothing is being done here. This is a huge, huge, huge gap. And if we address these gaps, over time we will correct the incentives, right? Because right now, if you break the cycle and you get people to stop deciding to be hackers, to be scammers, right? If there's no benefit from doing so, you're going to have less people decide. And over time, you're going to have less people out there trying to hack you, trying to scam you, right? And then there'll be less theft, which makes the incentive go down, and on and on and on. And it's also really important to look at like the actual motivations of the threat actors. I think a lot of times we just like kind of throw them all into a bucket. But crypto has a lot of really interesting players. Earlier, I showed you guys like the bedazzled watches and stuff. Those are like the kids, the fishers. They're doing all these things. But we also have nation state threat actors, most notably Lazarus, North Korean hackers, super prevalent, like the top hackers in this space. And while their motivations are geopolitical, they are essentially like nation state criminals because the politics over decades, right, has put them in a position where they don't have access to the traditional finance system. They've been completely cut off, right? So they will phish your crypto, they will hack the crypto, they will scan the crypto from you, and they even will literally work for your companies in order to earn crypto to send it back to the regime. And on the hacking front, when we're talking about incentives, right? This is the 2023 hacks. These are just like the really big ones. They have like a primary hacking group. These are the biggest ones. Here's 2024 so far. I think we're at like 600 million this year alone. Here's a nice graph. Okay, incentives. There's $1 billion on the table. They're going to go try to get it. They will do almost anything to try to get that money. They're not going to stop until that number goes down. We are on track, by the way, for them to be, it's probably going to go up this year. We're already at 600 mil. There's a few months left. Probably 1.5 billion by the end of the year, if I had to guess. That's a crazy number. That's an insane number for hackers to steal. Which means that, they're just going to keep doing this, right? And the most important thing, okay, if we go back to this, you see in 2016 and 2017, when they didn't really steal that much money, That's when we should have tried to address this problem, right? It would have been way easier to stop them there and they could have, gone away. They actually did in 2018 for a little bit. They went back and they went back to hacking banks for a while. And then they came back to crypto, got their feet under them, and now we're screwed. So when we talk about sophisticated laundering, we talk about like them scaling up. This is one pile of their laundry. This is from the Harmony hack. They did this in maybe 4 hours. So every one of those lines is a transaction. Every one of the dots is like a person or an address. And then at the very bottom, you have the centralized exchanges that they use to launder. They're all like fake throwaway KYC accounts, no information on them. They take over the accounts. It's very, very hard to address this. They move very, very, very fast. And they just launder like crazy. And they do this, every other day. The one thing that we can do to address it, though, is that when you trace it, right, when you track the funds, when they go to a centralized exchange, you can, surprise, surprise, you can actually increase their costs and you can create risk for them. And this is something that historically we haven't done. We've been getting better at it, though. I have some examples from the hack, Harmony. Zach was able to trace it really, really, really quickly. He put a note out on Twitter. We got a bunch frozen at the centralized exchanges. And then even USDC got frozen. So they laundered like 10 million that day. 1 million did get frozen, probably over 1 million. Okay, not a bad day. More recently, 6.7 million was frozen by the centralized stablecoin providers. And then even more recently, $30 million was frozen by Tether. Most of it, about half of it from the DMM Bitcoin hack. $30 million though, right? The total hack was 300 million. 30 million in one go is pretty damn good. It's not good enough. It's not going to change the incentives 100%, but it's pretty good. And just a quick note, please build permissionless things that are censorship resistant. However, if you don't, if it's permissioned, if it's a centralized stablecoin, if it has a freeze function, you will be expected to use it. And you should use it. You can build it permissionless, or you cannot. If you don't, you should be freezing bad people's money, especially when it's Lazarus. All right, I have a minute left, so we're going to go really, really fast. All right, so the most important thing about this, though, right? You don't have to be a wizard. You don't have to learn how to trace crypto. You don't have to, none of that. Do right by people. The end. Do right by people, okay? People are out there, and they are hurting. On the left, don't do those things, okay? Do the things on the right. Make people feel heard. Listen to them. Understand their problems, okay? People don't actually need to recoup their losses. Like, it helps a lot. But the worst things are all the lower hanging fruit. At MetaMask, we have done an immense amount of work to try to help our victims. And we've been scaling up rapidly to actually give people resources so that they don't get scammed again. And so that they can address and have some path of recourse. Any, right? One thing that we've done is that we've taken a certain segment cohort of our support cases and we've sent them to a company called Crypto Forensic. It's been about a year since we started this initiative. We've sent them about 500 victims. In total, those victims between them had $80 million that they lost, had stolen, scammed, whatever. 400 of them actually got additional help. That was like more investigations, maybe some funds got frozen, or maybe they just got insight into what actually happened. Right? Because Crypto Forensic can like give insight to them that we can't, right? Our support team can't. They can sit down and dive in with the victim more. And as a result, our user safety team now been like, we want to do more, right? We want to bring more of these capabilities in-house so that we can help more and more people. We don't have to refer them external, and that's what we're doing. Meanwhile, Sam, CC's son, is like, yo, hold my beer. And he set up like an ecosystem initiative. CL 911. It's basically like an ecosystem support line. If you're hacked, if you have a vulnerability, millions and millions have been saved, front run, responsibly exposed, all sorts of things. We stopped a thief mid-hack. It was super cool. Uh, Here's another story. This dude found a vulnerability, 3 million at risk, was able to like get in contact within an hour via Seal, get the whole thing fixed. It was fantastic. In total, holy crap, 1,000 tickets, 80 war rooms, incident war rooms, responding to hacks. And we've guesstimate here, it's probably higher, 72 million, where we've either like prevented the money from being stolen or recovered it after the fact. So the answer to the question of what do is if you listen to people, if you look at the problems, okay, they're all around you, do things. Do whatever you can uniquely do. Okay, I don't know who you guys are. I don't know what your skills are. You don't have to be a tech wizard though. Every single person in this room can do something and have an impact on the people around them. Do that. Make it better and don't let people accept that bad things can just happen. Okay? No, bad things happen and then we address those bad things. Thank you. Love you. Find me after if you want to chat more.